Hello, JavaScripters. Bruce here with a reworked version of the Flickr API code. Okay, let's look at the not Stack Overflow. That's where I was looking. Let's not look at Canvas either. Let's right-click and say Open in Browser. Okay, and this is something you all were able to see the other day. Okay, and when we did the code walkthrough, right? We got a little confused because we saw this big ass long jQuery code and we're all like, what? Okay, so before we dig in here, what I want you to do is I want you to go into Sublime, okay, and there is something called package install, Pspace I, okay. Actually, you know something? Let me remove my package here just so you can see what's going on. Okay, remove package, and then I'm going to get rid of the JSON package that I installed. Okay, just hold on. Okay, and now I'm going to bring up package control again. If you don't have this installed by now, I'm going to be upset. So package install, and then I'm going to find something called JSON reindent. See this right here? And this is a plugin for Sublime that will allow you to take code, which I'm going to show you shortly, and look at it like this, okay, in Sublime, okay, this big JSON data structure, okay. We're going to need to see this because this is the data that's coming back from the AJAX call, which we're making in our JavaScript, okay, and this is all the information about the photos, okay. So before we go any further, let's just go into this data one more time. So we have these outer, okay, seagulls or curly braces or mustaches, whatever you call them, indicating that we have an object, okay, and inside we have name value pairs, right? Title, and then recent uploads tag sunset, link, and then the link to all these photos, a blank description, a date that the thing was modified, which happens to be today, I believe, and the generator, which happens to be the site that did it, okay? So this is information about all the photos we're going to see below. And then you see here we have this key called items, which is then an array here, this square bracket, of these things right here, separated by commas, right? Because that's the way arrays work, right? So inside this square bracket, all the way down to the bottom here, okay, this closing square bracket on line 268, that's going to contain a whole bunch of objects that again contain key value pairs about each photo. Its title, its link, okay, media, and then inside of media we have another object that has this M key and then the URL to the photo. That's the medium photo. Then the date taken, a description, and that description happens to contain HTML, a publish date, author, author ID, tags. Okay, and notice the tags are just, I would have personally have put them in an array, but they didn't, okay, the people who developed the API, okay. So right here, this element right here, from here to here, that would be in items sub 0, in the first item. And then this second thing here would be items, is it item or items? Let's look. It is items sub 1, okay? So let's go through the code and start to see how we're going to be playing with this data in JavaScript, okay? So yeah, okay, so let's go back to the code. And let's see. So I have on line 6, I get my jQuery from the Google CDN. I then have a function called getJSONData. This is where we define a variable called Flickr API. This is the endpoint of the API. Okay, it's called the endpoint. And then we have our jQuery $.getJSON. Okay, just so you know, right? We've played with $.get, $.getJSON, and then you'll soon see in follow-up videos to this how we can use $.ajax. And they all kind of do the same thing. However, they try to make things, well, they give you certain amounts of freedom and flexibility and try to do things for you. And as you get to like $.ajax, that particular function will have the most power and the most flexibility. But don't worry about that for now. So this API, right, gets called right here on line 12, and then it gets passed an object that contains what the API is expecting. Okay, what tags are we looking for, the tag mode, and the format of the data we are about to get back. Okay, that's telling the API, when we call you, take these things and send us back a whole bunch of JSON data, and that JSON data is what you saw right here. Okay. Now, let's see. So here we have the function that gets called right here when this particular AJAX call is done. This is the callback. Okay. I renamed this from the one that we went over in class the other day just so it made more sense. Okay, and I'll give you the code if you're not. So here's the done function that gets sent back the result from the API. In this case, it happens to be Flickr, right? So I want to show you here. I have some console commands. Okay, there's one. So I'm going to log out, okay, using the JSON.stringify. So that takes a JSON object, converts it to a string, and the string we are converting happens to be the JSON data that we got sent back. So now I'm going to flip back here, and I'm going to show my console. There's my console, and now I'm going to clear it out, and I'm going to refresh. Okay. So what did you see up here? You see all this data here? This is that data that I copied from here all the way down to here. And I right-clicked and copied that into Sublime, and I put it in here, right? Let me just do it again. So I pasted it in there, and that's not very readable, is it? So then what I did is I highlighted it all, and I said take the selection, edit, and go to line. I'm sorry, I'm not thinking right now. So what you want to do is Control-Shift-P or Command-Shift-P on a PC. Come on, guy. Okay. Command-Shift-P, right? Or I think it's on the PC. What is it? It's Control-Shift-FP, or yeah, I think it's Control-Shift-FP. Sorry, I'm doing this on a Mac to bring up this thing, the package installer. So now I'm just going to go to JSON reindent and watch what happens right there. Whoops. Whoa. Oh, whoa, what happened? Oh, I didn't do the data right because I did what I did in class. I should have cut out this stuff right here. And let me just make sure at the bottom here I don't have all that stuff. Okay, look, yeah, I have a quote here. I don't need that quote. So now I'm going to highlight it all, Command-Shift-P, JSON reindent, and it still doesn't work. So what did I do wrong? Yay, let's have a look. Oh, see all these slashes and things right here and stuff? Okay, so what I did, okay, console.log json.stringify. Okay, the result. Let me just go back here and see what I did wrong. Why is it coming? See, that's weird. See, I didn't copy it right. Let me do it one more time. I suck. Okay, so let me just copy this. Copy. See, I make mistakes too, okay? Well, I think y'all know that. So is this all the data? Does this look good? Yeah, see, this looks much better. And then I can Command-Shift-P, JSON reindent. There we go. I apologize, okay? Sorry I wasted 3 minutes of your life. So there's the JSON data, okay? And I printed it out to the console so you can see it there as well. That's what's coming back. And if you remember, if we go to the Network tab, okay, I'll clear it out and I'll refresh, right? That first thing up here, this, what do you call it? This call to the API has the response here that contains all the data that was sent back from the API, and this happens to be JSON data, okay? So just remember that. So here's the data, and now what I want to do, okay, is I want to comment that back in, and I also want to show you how we can just log to the console just the raw result, okay, just the raw result, right? So if I clear out here and I refresh, okay, and I go to console, you can see at the very top here, it gives us back an object. See, this is the way, right, that JavaScript will show you all 20 items in there. You see that? Each of those objects, okay? When we stringify it, it takes all of that JSON data, right, and it puts it out as a big-ass string, okay? So you can use this object inspector here on the console to tear apart the object that you got back, the JSON data that you got back, okay? So I know this video is a little long, but just bear with me. The next thing I want to do here is on line 26. Instead of using $.each, I thought I'd show you just a simpler way to do it, and that is using a for loop. We began to talk about this in class, but we ran out of time. So I'm going to say for var I equals 0 to I less than the result that we got back, dot items. So if you go to the JSON data, you see dot items. So result is the name of the object we got back. Dot items is this key value here. And then, by the way, look at items. It's an array. You see this right here on line 7? It's an array. So then we can say, hey, what's its length? Okay? So we can determine the number of items that we have in our result set, and then we have I++ after we go through each loop iteration. And then to prove to you, right, that we are getting, say, the result dot item sub I, and the first time we go through that loop, it's going to be item sub 0, because I is going to equal 0. We're saying get the link, right, get the link property. So if we go back to our JSON here, we have items dot, and then here you have link, okay, and there is the link to the image, okay, you see that right there, okay. So watch this. If I run this now and I go back here and I go to console, I'll clear it out and I'll refresh it. You can see it's logging out each of those links. Do you see that? Each of the links, and there are 20 of them because that's how many we have, okay. So if you wanted to log, say, the date taken, right, you could just do this. You can change that dot link to date underscore taken. You refresh, and there are all the dates. So we are grabbing this data, right? Okay, we're able to reach inside and grab it by saying the result set that you got back, the items array, and then the 0th element, and then the date taken, okay, property. Okay, so we don't need to log that anymore. I just wanted to show that to you. And then what we want to do is, just so you know, down here we have this section that has a div of ID content. That's the place where we're going to be putting the images. On line 28, this is how you add, right, a new element in JavaScript. You say $, and then the element you want to add, just like that, okay? And then you assign it to a variable, okay? There it is right there. And then we can take that variable, right? And by the way, if you do this, check this out. I want you to see this. Console dot log type of, right, image, okay? Type of image. What are we going to get? Let's clear it out. Let's refresh. And we have an object. Okay, so this creates an object, and then what we're going to do is take that object and set its attributes, the source attribute, to result dot item sub I dot media dot m, and that's the medium size image. So if we go into our JSON, here's media, and then we have another object inside, so we use dot, and then we do m, okay, to reach inside. Okay, to get that particular value. And that's what we set the source to. And then we're just doing the same thing with image and padding. We're manually setting that to 110 pixels. And then we're taking that image object that we created on line 28 and we're setting it CSS. And you know that this is just a JavaScript object. And then we're saying go into the DOM, find pound content, and append to it the image object that you just created. And all this gets run right when the DOM is ready, okay? And for those of you who saw this the other day, right in class we talked about it, you see these lines right here? If we did something like this, let's just get rid of these. If you have just a function in there, you could do something like this. Let's do this. Can we where are you? Did I do it right? Let's see. Yep, there we go. So I just simplified it a little bit, okay? So I got rid of the, the anonymous function there, okay? A lot, okay? There's a lot here. I will repost this code in Canvas and we'll go over it tomorrow, okay? And then we'll also do how to do this with $.each, okay? Because I think it's really important. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you, I'm going to give you an API endpoint, and then I want you to build the code after you read in that data, okay? Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please ask.